Hello students, today we will continue the chapter Physical and Chemical Changes. So here I will begin with activity 6.8. In this activity, what you have to do, you have to take 1 teaspoonful of vinegar in a test tube and then you have to add a pinch of baking soda to it. Then what will happen? You will hear a hissing sound and you will see some bubbles of gas are coming out. So these bubbles and hissing sound indicate that when baking soda is mixed with vinegar, it produces carbon dioxide gas. Now what you have to do? This gas you have to pass in the freshly prepared lime water. When this gas will combine with lime water, then it will produce calcium carbonate and water. The formula for calcium carbonate will be CaCO3. Calcium carbonate is formed, which makes lime water milky. And what will happen when calcium carbonate will be formed? Then the solution will become milky. The turning of lime water into milky is a standard test of carbon dioxide. So through this test we can also conclude that when the solution will turn milky, it indicates that the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. You will use it in chapter 10 to show that the air we breathe out is rich in carbon dioxide. So this similar test you will be doing in chapter 10 to understand or to come to know that the air we breathe out is rich in carbon dioxide. So in activity 6.6 to 6.8 you saw that in each change one or more new substances were formed. You have performed many activities in this chapter. Since from the 6.6 to 6.8, in all these activities, you would have seen that a new substance is formed. Like in activity 6.6, the ash was formed when the magnesium strip was completely burnt, then ash was formed. In activity 6.7, the reaction of copper sulfate with iron produced iron sulfate and copper. In 6.7, what happened? Copper sulfate when combined with iron, then what happened? Iron sulfate was formed and copper got deposited on the blade. Both of these exercise form new substances. In activity 6.8, when you mix baking soda with vinegar, it produced carbon dioxide, which turned lime water milky. So here also a new substance is formed. Now can you name the new substance formed in this reaction? So what new substance was formed in this reaction? Calcium carbonate and water. So a change in which one or more new substances are formed is called a chemical change. In beginning of this chapter also I told you that there are two types of changes, physical changes and chemical changes. Physical change, I told you that these changes are reversible and there is no formation of new substance. But in chemical change, new substances are formed. A chemical change is also called a chemical reaction. A chemical change can also be called as chemical reaction. Chemical changes are very important in our lives. As physical changes are taking place in our day-to-day life, in the same way chemical changes are also very important part of our lives. All new substances are formed as a result of chemical changes. If any new substance is forming, that is just forming because of chemical changes. For example, digestion of food in our body, ripening of fruits, fermentation of grapes, etc. These all changes happen just because of chemical reaction. A medicine is the end product of chain of chemical reaction. Useful new materials such as plastics and detergents are produced by chemical reaction. These all are the examples which are telling you that a new substance is formed just because of the chemical reaction. Indeed, every new material discovered by studying chemical change. In other words, we can also say that every new material discovered by studying chemical change. If you are discovering any new material, that is just because of chemical changes. We have seen that one or more new substances are produced in a chemical chain. In addition to new products, the following may accompany a chemical change. So, with the formation of new substance in a chemical change, following changes could also take place. like heat, light, or any other radiation may be given off or absorbed. If any chemical change is taking place, then new substance is also formed, and heat, either light or any other radiation can also be absorbed or off. Sound may be produced. Even sound can also be produced. A change in smell may take place, or a new smell may be given off. And suppose if chemical change is taking place, or you do any chemical reaction that won't happen in some of the experiments or some of the activities, you will smell something. A color change may take place. Color can also change of the solution, like we have done activity 6.7. When we mixed the copper sulfate with iron, then what happened? The solution was blue, but it turned into green. A gas may be formed. A gas can also be formed, like in activity 6.8, carbon dioxide was produced. So, in chemical changes or in chemical reaction, new substances are formed and many other things also take place. You saw that burning of magnesium ribbon is a chemical change. Burning of coal, wood, or leaves is also a chemical change. In fact, burning of any substance is a chemical change. Burning is always accompanied by production of heat. You saw that when magnesium ribbon was burned, then it told us that there is a formation of new substance. That's why we called it chemical change. Burning of coal, wood, etc. These all are the chemical change. In fact, we can say that burning is always accompanied by production of heat. When burning takes place, then heat is produced. Or we can say without heat, burning cannot take place. And one thing more, in chemical reaction, new substance is formed. That's why this change is irreversible. Explosion of a firework is a chemical change. You know that such an explosion produces heat, light, sound, and unpleasant gases that pollute the atmosphere. That is why you are advised not to play with fireworks. Explosion of firework is a chemical change. Obviously, when you burn crackers or where any explosion take place, this is also the example of chemical change. This explosion, what it do? It produces heat, light, sound, and unpleasant gases, which are very much harmful for our environment. That is why we are advised not to play with the fireworks. You would have seen that during Diwali, the atmosphere get very much polluted just because of burning of lots of firecrackers. When food gets spoiled, it produces a foul smell. Shall we call this change a chemical change? Here is another example. When food gets spoiled, what happens? It produces foul smell. Shall we call this change a chemical change? Obviously, this change will be called as chemical change because we can't convert that foul smell into pleasant smell. That's why it is a chemical change. You must have noticed that a slice of an apple acquires a brown color if it is not consumed immediately. If you have not seen this change in color, cut a fresh slice of apple and keep it away for some time. One more thing, very common, whenever you cut apple or any fruit or any vegetable like potato, apple, banana, if you will cut it and you will keep it for some time, then what will happen? After some time, what you will see? There is a formation of brown color on that particular slice. Now, you can also do it as an activity. What you have to do? You have to cut a fresh slice of apple and keep it away for some time. Repeat the same activity with a slice of potato or brinjal. The change of color in these cases is due to the formation of new substance. So, when you will do this activity, then what will happen? A brown color substance will be formed. That substance is new. Are not these change chemical change? Obviously, these changes are also chemical change. In chapter 5, you neutralized an acid with a base. Is neutralization a chemical change? In chapter 5, you write that a neutralization reaction takes place, and what happens in neutralization reaction? In neutralization reaction, when an acid combines with base, then it forms salt plus water. So when acid and base both are combining, then a new substance is formed, that is salt. That is why this neutralization reaction is also a chemical change. Now here we'll come through an important note is given in your book, that is a protective shield. You must have heard of the ozone layer in our atmosphere. It protects us from the harmful ultraviolet radiation which come from the sun. We all have heard about the very important layer, ozone layer, which is surrounding an earth, and it is acting like a blanket which is protecting us from the harmful ultraviolet radiation that are coming from the sun. So what is the formula for the ozone? Its formula is O3. Ozone absorbs this radiation and break down to oxygen. What is the function of ozone? Ozone absorbs the harmful UV radiation coming from the sun and then it breaks into oxygen. Oxygen is different from ozone. Can we call a breaking down of ozone a chemical change? Yes, breaking down of ozone into oxygen is a chemical change. In this, what is the formula for ozone? The formula for ozone is O3 and the formula for oxygen gas is O2. So, when this ozone breaks down into oxygen, it forms a new substance. That is why breaking down of ozone is also considered as a chemical change. If ultraviolet radiation were not absorbed by ozone, it would reach the Earth's surface and cause harm to us and other life forms. Ozone acts as a natural shield against this radiation. If suppose there is no ozone in our atmosphere, then what will happen? The harmful ultraviolet radiation, they will directly fall on the surface of the Earth and it will cause a huge harm to the life and property. It can cause skin cancer to the humans, rashes, it can destroy the buildings. So, ozone layer plays a very important role in protecting us from harmful UV radiation. Here, Bujo is asking one question. We learnt in chapter 1 that plants produce their food by a process called photosynthesis. Can we call photosynthesis a chemical change? Yes, we have learnt in chapter 1 that plants prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. What happens in photosynthesis? When carbon dioxide combines with water, it forms glucose. So, in this, carbon dioxide and water combining and forming a new substance, that is glucose. That is why definitely it is a chemical change. Even Paheli is saying digestion is a chemical change. When we are eating something, then it is in complex form. We chew it and we make it a paste and then it goes down to our stomach, and here the complete breakdown of that complex molecule takes place. That's why digestion is also a chemical change. Now our new topic, that is 6.3, rusting of iron. Before discussing about the chemical change, we already discussed about rusting of iron. Let us get back to rusting. This is one change that affects iron particles and slowly destroy them. I told you earlier what is rusting. Rusting is a kind of substance which destroy iron, and how it forms? It forms when any iron particle is coming in contact with atmosphere. Since iron is used in making bridges, ships, cars, truck bodies and many other articles, the monetary loss due to rusting is huge. As you all know, iron is very much well known for its strength, its durability. That's why many heavy things, many heavy objects are made of iron, like bridges, ships, car, truck bodies and many other articles. So when this iron comes in contact with atmosphere, then what happens? It forms rust. This rust is of brown color. It is a brown color layer. What it do? It destroy the iron object. The process of rusting can be represented by the following equation. Here equation is given how rust is formed. Iron plus oxygen plus water gives out rust. Here in equation, Fe stands for iron, O2 stands for oxygen, H2 stands for water, and the formula for rust is iron oxide Fe2O3. What happens when iron comes in contact with oxygen and water? Then it forms rust. For rusting, the presence of both oxygen, water or water vapor is essential. I already told you that how rusting takes place in iron objects when this iron object comes in contact with water and air. In fact, if the content of moisture in air is high, which means if it is more humid, rusting becomes faster. Even if there is, if moisture is very much in our environment, then the process of rusting will become faster. as rusting is not good for the iron object as it destroys its durability and strength. So we need to prevent our iron articles from rusting. So how can we prevent it? We can prevent our iron objects from rusting while doing a paint or coat, or by applying a coat of paint or grease on the surface of iron object. In fact, these coats should be applied regularly to prevent rusting. If we'll apply this paint or grease on the iron object, then we can prevent it from rusting. Another way is to deposit a layer of a metal like chromium or zinc on iron. What can be the another way? Another way can be we can apply the coating of another metal on the surface of iron. That metal can be zinc or chromium. So the process of depositing a layer of zinc on iron is called galvanization, and this process is known as galvanization. The iron pipes we use in our homes to carry water are galvanized to prevent rusting. So the pipes which are underground in our home from where we get water, these pipes are also galvanized. Because these pipes are directly in contact with water, if we will not galvanize it, then what will happen? These pipes will get rusted and can be get spoiled. Ships are made of iron and a part of them remains underwater. You all know that ships are made of iron because iron is very strong and durable metal. What happens? These ships are remains in water. Mostly part of ships are in water. Then what happens? Obviously the process of rusting will take place. As ships run over oceans, then what happens? Ocean water is saline water. It means it consists of salt, and salt enhances the process of rusting. The process of rusting will become faster. Therefore, ships suffer a lot of damage from rusting in spite of being painted. After being painted also, the ships suffer a lot of damage. So much so that a fraction of ship's iron has to be replaced every year. Can you imagine the monetary loss to the world? That is why every year the iron parts are replaced just to prevent it from rusting. In this way, so much of loss is being to the world. The last topic of this chapter, crystallization. In class 6, you have learned that salt can be obtained by the evaporation of seawater. The salt obtained in this manner is not pure and the shape of its crystal cannot be seen clearly. In your earlier class, you would have learned about how salt is obtained. The salt is obtained from the seawater as the seawater is saline in nature. Saline in nature means it consists of salt. So when the water evaporates completely, it leaves behind the crystal forms that is known as salt. But the salt obtained through this process is not pure and the shape of its crystal is not so good and cannot be seen clearly. However, to obtain pure form or to obtain pure crystal from the solution, the process is done that is known as crystallization, and this process is a physical change. Now last activity, that is 6.9, to be performed in the presence of the teacher. And caution, use only dilute sulfuric acid. Be careful while boiling water. In this activity or before performing this activity, you have to take some cautions that you have to use dilute sulfuric acid as concentrated sulfuric acid is very harmful. Dilute means we have to mix in water in that. Take a cup full of water in a beaker and add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid. In this activity, what you have to do? You have to take a cup full of water and in beaker and add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid, and you have to add few drops of dilute sulfuric acid in that cup full of water. Heat the water. When it start boiling, add copper sulfate powder slowly while stirring continuously, and then you have to heat that water. When it starts boiling, then what you have to do? You have to add copper sulfate powder, and while mixing you have to just continuously stir the solution. Continue adding copper sulfate powder till no more powder can be dissolved, and this process you have to continue. When a stage will come, the powder will stop dissolving. Filter the solution, allow it to cool. Now what to do? You have to filter that solution and let it cool it. Do not disturb the solution when it is cooling, and you have to keep it at a separate place. You have to not just shake it, you have to not move it. Look at the solution after some time. Can you see the crystals of copper sulfate? If not, wait for some more time. Then what you have to? You have to observe what thing have took place. Can you see the crystals of copper sulfate? If not, then you have to wait for some time. But after some time, what will happen? The crystal of copper sulfate will be formed. You have learnt about physical and chemical change. Try to identify changes that you observe around you as physical or chemical change. So in this chapter, we have read about changes, and changes are of two types, physical change and chemical change. We have gone through so many activities, we have gone through so many examples, and I hope you would have understood. Now you have to observe many changes are taking place around you, and you have to classify in that a physical change and chemical change.